kind of nice. But I want to put out there, this is a release of liability. If I'm not your doctor, I won't be giving you advice. I'm not giving you advice over this video either. You will have to come in and get advice from me here. That's release of liability. And I'm a chiropractor. I love being a chiropractor. Generally speaking, that's what this office is, but we encompass the whole body. We work on the whole person, the whole human. And as a chiropractor, I remove interferences in the nervous system, imbalances, and bring the body back into balance and homeostasis with chiropractic. I have, let's see, we're going to tell you how this works. This is our first time, first of all. So this is the first time we're doing this. We're a bit nervous. I've got a little sweaty armpits, and nobody knows that, but Michelle and Cheryl and I. And we're embarking on something new on Zoom. We've done lots of talks and presentations in the past, and talked to crowds, and it's a little bit different when you're like here on camera and everybody's out there. So we have put together 4 workshops, and the focus of it is going to be to get you fit to fight the current health crisis that we found ourselves in, to get you fit to fight so that you can protect yourself and take care of others. The way it's going to work is if you have questions, you can, well, call and ask, call the front, or ask when you come in. You can also email them back. We'll get to those questions and answer back to you. And then there's a packet that will be sent out to you tomorrow, which will have articles, research articles. It'll have food resources, food boxes, dispensary. It'll have lots of access to different places we have set up for you. All of them have some pretty good deals. I mean, there's anywhere from 20% off Thrive Market to Butcher Box. We have Son of Something, my organic farmer neighbor, who has put his beautiful vegetables here in our background, and he does a box weekly. All of those resources are put there. There's lab work that you can access really inexpensively. But this is going to be in a packet. It's going to go out to you tomorrow. We didn't know how to get that all out to you ahead of time since we didn't know who was coming. So you're part of the Fit to Fight team now, and you'll be getting emails, and exclusively to you all will be a little tidbit. A couple times a month, Michelle and I are going to take turns just sending out our current read, what we're reading, what we're listening to, what we're looking at, some research articles, and we're really being bombarded with, not we, but we, the collective we, there's lots of information that's being found about the virus and treatments and how to do things, and it might be just a current article that we're throwing out there to you that we just found fascinating. And so that's how this is going to work. There's going to be 4 of them, 2 in June, 1 in July, and 1 in August. And it's going to be short and sweet. We're going to keep on point here and not ramble on, which is kind of what I tend to do when I have a group of people that I can go back and forth with and carry on a bit. So as summer leads to fall and into the winter, that's why we're doing this. We've really set this up because as the winter comes back, we're going to have issues again.
Right.
And
it was interesting because as we thought about, we really need to do this. A few weeks back now, even 3 weeks back, Dr. Heather was starting to say to me, I'm starting to see some real commonalities of, it seems like everybody who's coming out of lockdown has been facing the same problems, the same pressures, and we need to come up with solutions quickly to help people get their health back on track so they can be ready for whatever comes in the fall. So that's where the idea of this came from.
Yep. And I've seen certainly the depression, the eating, the
Lack of
weight
exercise.
put on, lack of exercise, people really not happy with not being able to go to the gym, myself included. I've gained probably 5 pounds with this. But it's been hard. The news has terrorized us, really. We have kids that are really afraid of, every now and then there's just really sad things I hear from people. Their kids are scared of other people. They don't want to go out of the house. They're scared, and it's a bummer. So we're going to arm you with information, offer you help, not just hope. And it's all here under our roof. We can do this together, and we can continue with Zoom if that's the way we have to do it in the future. But it's either a Zoom platform or another platform. But I want you all to know that I'm a victor, not a victim, and I don't plan on falling victim to this, and I plan on standing strong and fighting, and the team here wants to help you all do the same thing.
So as we started thinking through this process of what type of information can we get to you so that you have the most up-to-date, concise, and easily usable information. And Dr. Heather started formulating what turned out to be, what I think she is going to describe to you now, are 4 foundational pillars of human health that she and I use actively in our lives every single day. Nothing that we bring to you here are not things that we are doing actively in our own life. And Dr. Heather, if you are thinking about the most foundational thing probably that you are doing for yourself from a health standpoint every day, what's that baseline? Where do you start with?
It's food. Absolutely, it's food. Eating good, having a foundation, a nutritional foundation. We stay with a low carb. Sometimes I go into keto. Sometimes I swing towards carnivore for a couple of days, but it's always low carb. I've had gestational diabetes. My father had diabetes, and I say had because he really reversed his type 2 diabetes 25 years ago and got rid of that, and it's not an issue. I've worked with people for a long time with type 2 diabetes, but food is how you do that. What is an issue? The carbs, the bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, those types of foods that are metabolized as sugar. The 4 pillars, though, are food, supplementation, exercise, and spiritual fitness. And this is what we've come up with. There will be the nutritional component as far as supplementation goes. There's lots of studies that are they're bombarding with studies on what kind of nutrition needs to be in a person to keep them from succumbing to death with the virus. But one of the things they found, everybody that died, I think without fail, everybody that died had a vitamin D level below 10. So that's food for thought. Vitamin D, get out in the sun, all of these things. We'll focus on that in our second workshop as far as the supplementation and those kinds of things. We have the exercise and strength. We will hopefully have access to some bands and exercise bands and balls and weights and such for people to have at home. Bands and balls are cheap, dirt cheap. You could do $25 and have your workout station. If you've got to figure it out and tailor it and get that going, and we'll have access and help with that for you. And then spiritual fitness, spiritual fitness in the depression. I know of 2 people right here in Roseville, both kids, a teenager and a 11-year-old that have killed themselves, died of suicide. And that's just right in my little world right here. I'm sure the rest of you have had exposure to people that have had, real depression and real issues. So we will have some suggestions and other people participating as we go into the other workshops.
Right. We want to bring in a team of people who are expert in their own fields so that we can provide you with the very best knowledge and people that we use in our lives to help us in the areas where we know it's not necessarily our wheelhouse.
You want to pull up the study?
I would love to pull up the study. So bear with me 1 second, folks. I'm going to share our screen with you because this is so interesting.
I sent 4 studies out there to you. This one was 12% of American adults are metabolically healthy. Metabolically healthy is really what we want to focus on.
12%.
Yeah, that's a scary number. But metabolically healthy means that your body metabolism works well. And those are the little details, the fine details that we're going to get into. How do you know if your body works well? How do you know if you have metabolic dysfunction, which is one of the three causes that are real impactive on the outcomes of the survival rate of the coronavirus, where people that died with comorbidities of blood pressure. They had high blood pressure. They had an insulin resistance, a diabetes, or a metabolic dysfunction. And those all mean the same thing, just varying degrees of severity as far as how the illness is manifested in your body. But it is one of the factors, one of the comorbidities, and the other was overweight, blood pressure, and diabetes is what the news said. But it doesn't have to just be diabetes. It's metabolic dysfunction. So anybody that's not metabolizing as well as they should are at risk. And that's where we're going to go with this food component. And the food component, you need to educate yourself on how your body is metabolizing food, what's going on inside your body. Well, how do you know that? You get blood work done is one, but that's only a small caption, a snippet of time. With the A1C, which is glycosylated hemoglobin, the A1C is a 3-month average of blood sugar, and it gives you an idea of where you've been for the 3 months. But it really doesn't tell you how that brown rice metabolized in my body. What happened there? Was it good? Was it bad? And we've been doing things here for a long time. Like I said, 25 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and he eats the caveman diet. That's easy for him to remember, and that's what he calls it, is the caveman diet. And he has to check his blood sugar, and we use glucometers here most of the time. There are technologies advancing, and there are other things to use. So a glucometer you'll prick your finger, put it on a little test strip, and it'll give you where your blood sugar is at that moment. And that gives you real-time information. We also do fasting blood sugars when you first rise in the morning, and that tells you how your body is really working overall. But this is, maybe you're going to check your blood sugar 4 times a day. It doesn't give you a great reading.
So I decided to be a guinea pig for at least the next 2 weeks. And I'm wearing this little device. You'll see it. I've already had somebody say, "Oh, did you hurt your arm?" And I said, "No, this is a blood sugar monitor."
But it's thin.
It's super thin. And that's just a little bandage over the top of it. This is attached to my arms for the next 2 weeks. And what I can do easily now is I take my cell phone, and forgive me, we're filming with it right now, but I swipe my cell phone over it, and it gives me an instant blood sugar reading. And it helps me, it is going to help me track, especially I'm going to monitor how does my body respond to certain foods. I'm just going to give an example. Say I eat a little bit of rice. Well, what does my blood sugar do over the next hour to 2 to 3 hours with that little bit of rice? How much is my blood sugar going up or down? And this is very preliminary data, but I was already shocked just wearing it overnight. And a couple stressful things happened today. I was really surprised at how my blood sugar responded just to a little bit more stress than normal. So this is going to be a great tool to help me dial in a little bit more, maybe some areas of my life where I need to be working maybe a little bit more on my spiritual fitness or on my sleep hygiene. How well and how rested am I after a night of sleep?
Let me throw out there that a normal is 70 to 110. Your blood sugar will spike up with foods, will spike up with different things, but it really shouldn't be up in the 200s. But Michelle's jumped up how much higher?
Well, it was at least a good 10 points higher than it normally ever should be. And it was just because I was a little bit under pressure, under the gun to get a few things done today. And I didn't get a great night's sleep last night. Darn dog woke me up at 3 in the morning. So these things make a difference.
And Michelle checks her blood sugar regularly.
Yes. So this is my little glucometer. And these are readily available on Amazon. And if you need any help, a little tutorial of how to use these, that's what we're here for.
So going forward, that's the knowledge that you can gain from knowing where your blood sugar is, knowing how your body metabolizes the food is the key to adjusting and tailoring and changing. Kind of sounds like a pain, but once you kind of get it dialed in, it's easy okay, I've got it figured out here. Right. I'm going to lay off these foods, and it's pretty doable. And then you don't have to check your blood sugar all the time, or you can do what Michelle is doing. We're hoping to have a promo
affiliate link
price and link and whatnot with the continuous glucometer soon.
So I'll be able to give you a report in 2 weeks how that went. And
and that'll be something we put in the email.
Absolutely.
And send out there just so you can see what's happened with her. And she's going to intentionally spike some things.
Yes, I am. I want to do rice one time, and I wanted to do a fun treat one time, like say a coconut ice cream. I mean, I don't usually eat sugar. Most of you know that. I really avoid sugar in my life. I want to see, how does my body respond? That's going to be an interesting experiment.
The crux of this is that everybody wants to have or needs to have their own individual food plan, their own individual focus. And I mentioned before keto and carnivore and paleo. And what I really don't do in my life is grains. Grains equal sugar to me. So I don't do grains, and I don't do simple sugars by any means. No agave, no, what are the others? There's a number of sweeteners that were okay for a while. No honey, even though it's natural.
Right.
And I keep, because of the gestational diabetes. Gestational diabetes is a glimpse into, if you don't take care of things, it's a glimpse into the future to come. So I really started with 17 years ago with, what was pretty much Atkins diet then. And it was vegetables and whatnot, but I pretty much just omitted all of the grains, absolutely all the grains. And beans don't do well for me. Some people can do beans, and that's where you'll be getting the knowledge with the glucometer. Right. But they're cheap. There's $15, some of them $20, and you can get some from your doctor. Sometimes they'll be willing to help you out and write a prescription for it, even if you don't have diabetes. I feel they should, primary care should be more than willing to do this, because this is somebody taking charge of their life and their health. They really should be handing these out on the corner for free to people that want to know. As far as, the diet, so I ran through this Whole 30. Whole 30 really omits all processed foods. It's a nice, user-friendly diet that gives you an awareness, and you take out diet, you take out dairy, you take out grains, you take out sugars, and you take out all processed foods and bad oils. So it's a real intensive learning process to get you aware, and then you add it back and see what your body does. And that is the real telltale thing 30 days later, when you're very affected by just some cheese, just something as simple as some cheese, some ice cream, But it's a user friendly. It's widely, it's out there everywhere. You can get
ample
books
free
everywhere.
resources.
Yes, they're all over
Absolutely.
the internet. And then there's fasting, intermittent fasting. Lots of people do 16/8 or 18/6 or even narrower than that. And there's timed eating. You eat all of your food, which is basically just the reverse of intermittent fasting, but you eat all of your food in a 5-hour window or a 6-hour window or whatever your window is.
Right.
But we do all of this in the program that we start tailoring it and looking at everybody's foods and choices and diets and what they're doing and work together to change your life and make sure that you're going to be fit to fight as winter rolls back around, because that's a little bit of a scary time. I want you to be filled with hope and know that we're here to help you and offer you hope along the way. A1C, so blood work, that was the other thing, blood work. We've on one of the sheets in the packet that we'll be handing out to you, blood work will be priced there. It's affordable. It's done through my office, and I can write you a requisition. You go off to LabCorp and get PIM panels, metabolic panels, A1Cs. You can do vitamin D. As I was speaking a little bit about vitamin D before, vitamin D is pretty essential nutrient here in this crisis, and it's a good idea for you to know what your vitamin D is. It's sometimes tested, sometimes it's not tested for.
Yeah, there's a couple critical numbers that you need to know your numbers. You need to know a few baseline numbers so you know how to tailor and to shift some of your supplementation and some of how you're going to approach your diet, because we are not here to dictate to you what you do or don't eat. Some of the best things about having a blood sugar monitor is the monitor will tell the tale about how your body is responding to what you choose to eat. You don't have to believe Dr. Heather and I. The number is right there for you. And then you can make choices about sometimes that treat, that whatever you're having is so worth it, you're willing to take the hit on it, and maybe you're willing to alter your diet in other areas so you can have a fun treat once in a while, and that's great. That's what we want to do. Pick where you want to have your emphasis in your diet. We want the majority of your diet to be very nutrient dense, rich whole foods that are all locally sourced here. This is one of the things that's coming up now, is there are starting to be some food shortage and food scarcity issues that are coming up. And the more that all of us know where some of our local farmers grow and where we can get things that are fresh and in season, this is the foundation of health, right?
And clear.
And clean, chemical free. Absolutely.
That's one of the reasons the supply chain, with the processing plants, the meat processing plants, growth was part of the processors are really poor health. They're in living conditions that aren't great. They're processing meat that is, I won't say poison, but certainly it's undesirable to be eating that meat. It's full of antibiotics, and it's a big deal. So as far as accessing meat and good stuff, we're in the breadbasket of it all. We have everything here. I want to, as we move through these workshops and into the Fit to Fight program, I want to have all the farms. There's a number of local farms right here. There's many of them. They sell at farmers markets. I know many of them personally, but there's poultry, beef, pork. I don't know about so much fish, but all of the meats are available, and every produce, nut, seed, vegetable, fruit, everything you can imagine is available right here, probably within 25 miles.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's quite amazing when you really get into it. Maybe a little more like 30, 35 miles. But I want to make it accessible to anybody who wants to contact local farmers. that my office be a drop-off and pickup point for these boxes and these produces and this meat, so that you can get it. So that it's that important. I really feel strongly about this. I'm a small farmer. Most of you know that about me as well. But I want to make it accessible. So that will come soon, a list where all of the willing participants to get food out to the local community. Oops, sorry.
And I want to really emphasize that Dr. Heather and I are here, and you are part of our family. I really feel this. This is our Fit to Fight family. We are in this together. We need to be strong for ourselves. We need to be strong for our families, and you, our extended family community. Because I see these signs up all over the place right now. We're going to get through this together. That's absolutely true, but we need to be a little more forearmed about how to fortify our own bodies and minds and spirits, so we can be the strongest people. We can be moving forward into the fall, no matter what comes. I don't care what viral or bacterial pathogen comes our way. We need to be stronger so that we can be resilient and be there for others who are also in need, because there will be people out there who won't necessarily have the same mental, physical, and spiritual strength that you do, and you're going to need to be there to pick them up and lift them up. So let us help you to be able to dial in what you need to right now to fine-tune your health. Now is the time. Summer is the perfect time physiologically for the body to grow strong, because just like a bear, we tend to sort of go into a little bit of a senescence or a hibernation more as we move towards fall and winter. Now is the time to strengthen ourselves, and that's what we're here for.
And that's what we're going to do. We have put together a team, a program, a Fit to Fight program, and that will be in your email tomorrow. There'll be a program sent out. It will individually tailor for you blood work, diet, exercise, and we'll do one-on-ones. We will do sit down and work through this and find an exercise that works for you. Find the spiritual healing meditation, whatever it happens to be that works for you, to put yourself back on track and be fit to fight as the winter rolls around.